Today we are going to be replacing both the engine and cabin air filters in this 2016 Ford Explorer Police Interceptor. So we're going to start with the engine air filter, and to access it we just need to pop the hood. So the engine air filter is directly below this shroud right here. It's in the front driver's corner of the engine compartment, right next to the battery. So this shroud is held on by just two snaps that you can just pop off with your hands. So one is right here, you see it, this shiny silver snap. So I'm going to just swing it off to the side. That's done. And then there's one right underneath the intake here. And same thing, just swing it to the left. So now you just have to slide this shroud to the left, because there are three fingers on this shroud that stick underneath a support bracket right here. And you might have to wiggle it a bit because it'll just be a little bit sticky. There we go. There are some tabs down here on the bottom that will hold it in place too. So lift up about an inch and then slide to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and hold up on the shroud and pull the filter out. Now when you do this, you want to be careful not to knock any more dust around than you absolutely need to, because you don't want that to end up in your engine. And you can see down here there are some crumbs. These are all things that did not make it into the engine. They did not make it through the filter. So it's fine to see them in there, but I'm going to go ahead and vacuum these out off camera. So the old filter does not look too bad. It looks a little dirty for sure. You can see where the edge is clean and then the center is dirty. So it definitely is ready for replacement. This was a Motorcraft filter. I am replacing it with a Wix filter, a Wix 46935. So you can see the size is the same, which means that it should be a direct replacement. And in goes the Wix filter. And here you can see those three tabs, the three fingers I was talking about. Those have to go under a bracket. So I'm going to squeeze this back down behind the grill. And then I'm going to get those fingers close to being lined up, and then I'm going to lift up on the intake and push down on this side. Okay, change of plans. This was supposed to be the easy way to do it without any tools, but my new filter is just a little bit thicker than the old filter, and so I'm having trouble compressing it and getting those fingers into the bracket. So I'm going to remove this clamp here. This is a 5/16 or 8mm nut driver. So I'm just going to spin this housing out of the rubber tube. Okay, so there's the clamp, there's the housing. Okay, so now I should be able to more easily get the housing in place. There we go. So I just needed a little bit of a steeper angle to get those fingers into the bracket. Then just hold the housing down and push your snaps into place. The new filter appears to be just a little bit thicker, I would say, because that gasket really needed a bit of force to compress it. So it should seal really well against that housing now. So now I just need to get the intake boot back on. Okay, we mustn't forget the clamp. So I'm going to slide that on first. Just want to wipe the dust out of the hose here so that I don't push any dust into the engine. And I'm just going to put just a little bit of Vaseline on this boot, just to make it a little easier to slide on and make sure we get a good seal. A little bit goes a long way. Pull this together, and look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I'll go ahead and tighten this band clamp back up. It does not need to be very tight. There we go. I can see where it used to be, so I just tightened it back up to that point. So there we go. The engine air filter is replaced, so we're good for another year. Now let's move to the cabin air filter. Your cabin air filter in the Ford Explorer is behind your glove compartment door. So we need to get the glove compartment door out of the way so that we can replace the filter that's behind it. But before we do anything with the glove box door, look beneath your glove box and see if you have a knee airbag right here. You can see on mine, I have an airbag below my glove box. And so if you have this, the first thing you should do, just like I'm going to do, is disconnect your battery. Disconnecting your battery is very easy. All it amounts to is taking a 10mm wrench or socket or nut driver and loosen the clamp on the negative post of the battery. Then lift it up and off. So you can see now the negative clamp is no longer on the terminal of the battery. These are separated. Make sure that they cannot touch each other, and let your battery, or you let your vehicle sit for 15 to 30 minutes or more overnight if you want to, so that the airbags will be de-energized. So it's been about half an hour since I disconnected my battery. So now I feel safe working around this airbag. And what we're going to do is actually lower this knee airbag out of the way so that we can more easily work on the glove box. Don't mess with, why are you messing with the airbag? I can hear people thinking that and saying that right now. And all I can say is that on my Explorer, I need to move the airbag in order to do this job. I wish I didn't have to. I tried, but I need to move it. And reading some of the comments online, I think a lot of people would have a more enjoyable experience doing this if they did move their airbag. Removing the airbag is pretty easy, so let's get back to that. To lower this airbag, we need to remove 4 screws or bolts. There's 2 right there at the left end of the airbag and 2 right there at the right end. Remove the 4 screws with an 8mm or 5/16 socket on a ratchet. Now that we've removed the screws, we just need to gently pop the airbag off of these metal brackets. So you see these layers of white fabric right here. That is part of the airbag, so that is what we want to pry off of the metal bracket. I'll just be very gentle. I'm going to switch to a larger screwdriver. Almost there. There we go. Okay. So you can see the large plastic stud there that was going up into the metal bracket. So that's one side. Okay, I have a gap opened up there, so stick my screwdriver in. There we go. Okay, so now the airbag is free from its brackets. We are not going to disconnect it though. We're just going to set it aside so that it's out of our way. Now that the airbag has been moved, the rest of this procedure is the same for all Ford Explorers of this vintage. So the next thing you're going to do is look underneath the glove box and look for these white pins. This is the white pin that we are going to remove from the bottom right side of the glove box. With the airbag out of the way, it's very easy to see and access these pins. So I removed this one from the bottom left side, and I'll demonstrate now removing the one on the bottom right. Okay, so now we have both of these pins out. So now that we've removed the 2 white pins, there are 2 steps that we need to do to allow the glove box to drop down, or essentially swing open further than normal. So the first step in releasing the glove box door is disconnecting this cord here. So you can see that there's a cord that's connected to a hook on the side of the glove box, and that hook is in a keyhole. So we're going to lift up on the glove box door a little bit and then try to remove or slide that out of the keyhole. So now we have that cable disconnected, and you can see it hanging back there. We will reconnect it later. The second thing that we need to do is just push up on these tabs. So you can see that when the glove box is all the way open, these tabs hold the glove box from swinging any further. Mine on the left side is actually already missing the glove box, so all I need to do is hold up on mine on the right side. And because we removed those white pins, we should be able to pull the glove box out completely. And there we go. So now that the glove box is out completely, we can see the cabin air filter. It's that rectangular cover right there, this black piece right here. So we're just going to get our fingers behind these snaps, and we're going to pop this cover off. Okay. So you can see there's a little foam gasket of sorts on the back of that cover, and there's just two tabs on the top that go up into slots, and then little pull tabs on the bottom. I'm going to set that aside, and we see there's our filter. So it looks like it has not been changed in a while. Looks pretty dirty, and it says the airflow is going down. So let's go ahead and pull this out. Oh dear. So this is why, even though it takes a little bit of time, it's worth changing your cabin air filter, because this thing is filthy. So I just could not resist a side-by-side here. This is the old filter, and this is the new filter, and you can just see how absolutely filthy the old filter was, or is. Part of the reason for that is that it is the original filter for the vehicle. So this was made in 2016, February 19th, 2016. And this is a 2016 Explorer. So it really needed to be changed, I would say, a long time ago. But the important thing is that we're replacing it. The new filter here is the Wix 24068, and I'll say that I'm a bit disappointed because the construction is not as good as the old Motorcraft. The ends here do not have reinforcement panels like the Motorcraft does, and it's overall a little bit thinner. The pleats are thinner. You can see there, they do not extend the full height of the filter, and it also does not indicate airflow direction. I'm going to say that airflow goes this way in the Wix, just like it does that way in the Motorcraft. Just a little bit disappointed in the Wix. When you're buying these filters, just buy as high a quality a filter as you can, and replace it as often as you can. I'm going to target 1 year, just to keep the cabin as clean and healthy as possible. With the airflow direction going down, let's install our new Wix filter. Then we have our cover that will slide up and snap in. Before I drop the glove box back on, I want to just show where these pins go. So the glove box has to be back on before we really install these, but the pins are going to slide right across here, just like that. Okay, and then they really cannot rotate. So the glove box is what rotates on that pin. And I'm just going to pull it back out to the side. Okay. So then we have to drop the glove box on, and it will ride on these pins as well. And once it's in place, then I'll reach under there and push these pins in. And there's one on the right and one on the left. You see there's a set of eyelets over there as well. And here is the mating parts on the glove box. So you can see in the middle there's 3 hooks that pop over the metal rods that are always there. And then on the ends there's eyelets, and that's what the white pins snap through. So I'm going to drop this down in place, and it should sit on the metal rods, and then I'll reach up there and push the white pins through. Now with the pins back in, the door works like normal, except it does drop more quickly, and that's because we need to reconnect that little tether over here on the side. This tether was attached to the side of the glove box, and we removed it earlier, and it flew back there behind the glove box. So I just reached back there with my hand while holding the glove box about half open, and was able to grab it and pull it back to the front. So it's pulling with a few pounds of force, so you do have to hold on to it pretty well. But I'm going to now slide it back into this keyhole. There we go. Okay, so now everything is fully reconnected. I now need to screw the airbag back up to that bracket, and we'll be done. I'm going to see if I can help it pull up by tightening one of the fasteners. There, I heard it pop. There we go. Now we can reconnect our battery. So there you have it. Both air filters have been replaced, so the car and you can breathe a little easier next time you go for a drive.